Maybe it's an addiction. Maybe it's just self-hatred. Whatever it is, God can help you with that. Okay, that God is a real God, and His mercy is everlasting, which is a hard thing for me to understand sometimes, because sometimes I lose patience. Okay, but once again, here in the book of Isaiah, it says that some people were sitting saying, but the Lord doesn't see our affliction. He's passed over. He's forgotten me. Right? And some of us might be in that same place saying, God, man, where are you? Right? Did you fall asleep on me like it said in the Psalms? Right? Are you there? Do you hear me? Do you see what I'm going through? God, what about me? You have forgotten me. And then Isaiah says an amazing thing. He says, haven't you heard? Haven't you known that the everlasting God, the creator of the heaven and earth, He doesn't get tired of folks. He doesn't get weary. He doesn't give up, right? But He, even if people get tired, even if young men will fail in a race, they'll fall down, they'll lose strength, even for people that we love, right? Sometimes we've had enough and we got to take a break. But He said God isn't like that. That He gives strength to the powerless. He gives might to the weak, right? That He the everlasting God, right? He will mount you up on wings like eagles, and you're going to soar over everything that you've been going through.
Amen.
He said He's going to lift you up, and you won't grow weary. You won't be weak anymore. He's going to give you strength where you feel like you don't have any more strength, like you can't go on. And time after time, I've heard stories of people who said, I can't go on. I'm done. I can't keep living this way. And then God comes in and does miraculous stuff. That's what we're looking for, right? The everlasting God, the maker of heaven and earth, coming into our lives. See, one of the problems with the modern age, with the world as it is, okay? It says in the book of Proverbs 29, verse 18, it says, where there's no vision, the people perish. But he that keeps the law, happy is he. Where there's no vision, okay? So a bunch of people will talk about their vision board, they'll talk about their 5-year plan, they'll do all this stuff, right? That's not what he's talking about. What he's talking about is where there's no revelation of God. Where there's no open communication with God, and there's no revelation of who Jesus Christ actually is, the people will perish. And this word perish, it's in the original language, it's this word para, which means literally to lose restraint, to neglect, to lose restraint, to avoid, to go backwards, to perish. Okay, where there's no revelation of God, you'll find yourself going back to sin. Where there's no revelation of God, you'll find yourself going back to self-hatred and self-loathing. Where there's no revelation of who Jesus Christ is, you'll go back to suicidal thoughts and depression and anxiety over the top of your head. Where there's no revelation of who Jesus Christ is, man, you'll find all of your hope at the bottom of the bottle. You have all of your hope found drawing up a needle or smoking up your problems. But when you sober up, the problems are still there. Sometimes, like it was with me, it was just made worse.
Amen.
Because now I did all my paycheck in a night just doing up a bunch of cocaine. Okay? Where there's no revelation of Jesus Christ, the people will perish. Okay? And once again, there's a reason that the churches are empty. Okay? Because sometimes there's no revelation from the pulpit as well. Sometimes there's no revelation of who Jesus Christ is. There's no open communication because we get too busy doing churches always and stuff. And meanwhile, the lost are out in the streets and none of us go out. Okay, so once again, there's a reason that we're out here today, because we believe that right here is where Jesus Christ would be preaching. right? To come out and just to let everybody know that the everlasting God sees you where you're at. He sees you. He knows what problems you're going through. He knows the trials and the tribulations that you're going through, right? And he's here with you. And he's like, those who keep the law, happy are they, right? That he's like, look, man, I've given you the law of God, right? Not to tell you, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that, but to keep you from doing things that are only going to harm you, to keep you from doing things that are going to drag you into depravity, into addiction, and into hell. Okay? And that's because I lived in hell for years, man, drowning in my addiction, drowning in depression, drowning in aggression, full of hate, hating everybody and hating myself. Okay? So this is not coming from somebody who's been just had a perfect life, man. I haven't. My life started out with abuse and neglect, right? And it just went downhill from there for years, okay? So I'm not coming from a happy, clappy place. I'm coming from a real place to let you know a real God who can do exceedingly abundantly beyond anything you could ask or think, okay? The real God who is interested in your lives tonight.
Amen.
Okay, within earshot, wherever you're at. If you can hear me in your apartment, okay, if you can hear me at the gym, wherever you're at, God sees you. And you can hide your problems, you can hide your depression from your family and your friends, but you can't hide it from God. He knows where you're at, and he's waiting for you to reach out to him and say, I need help. And he's mighty to save.
Yes.
He's never neglecting. He's just waiting for you to take the step. He said, if you draw close to me, I'll draw close to you. And that's a cool thing. No thing that calls itself God has ever been that way in this world. Zeus, man, Zeus was all about himself, right? Odin hated his own children, okay? Pick a god. Oh, the Aztecs. Oh, yeah, they were ripping hearts out and sacrifices to a god that they call Santa Muerte today. Same God from years ago, cutting off heads and hands, okay? So that God doesn't offer me a lot of hope, especially why are we going to worship death when Jesus has victory over death? Jesus took the keys of death and hell, and he took captivity captive to set us all free from the fear of death. We don't have to worry about it anymore because Jesus Christ is King.
Amen.
Then now we have hope. Now we have a hope that the real King of all kings, the real Lord of all lords is here on our side, that you can have the true God facing your enemy for you. And he says, you don't have to do anything. Just sit back and rest for a while and watch the salvation of the Lord. See, in Hebrews, it talks about there's a rest for the people of God. So we should strive to enter into that rest. Okay? That's a beautiful thing to me. That where before I used to, I used to have to strive to make them ends. Okay? I had to strive in order to sell that dope, right? I had to make that money so I could go do whatever, right? When I was in the heavy metal band, I had to try to put on an image, and we had to work and we had to toil in order to make that music good and stuff, right? We wanted to be studio quality. We wanted to be CD quality when we were anywhere, right? And so we had to put in a lot of practice and stuff, right? And so you might think, oh, this Christianity thing, man, that's going to require a lot of work. Well, here's the beautiful thing. You just let God work in you. You sit back and let God do the transformation, and he's going to break off addiction. He's going to break off depression. He's going to break off suicidal thoughts. He's going to do it all. He's going to be inside of you. And you're like, well, I don't know. I do, though. Amen. Because he did it to me in an instant. He took years, 15 years of addiction.